Students, today we will discuss about mock test. So instead of discussing chapter by chapter, and we have very less time, so better we'll discuss one mock paper, so that it is like discussing one entire question paper. But we are not discussing physics and chemistry here. We are discussing only biology. As you can see there on the screen, you can see mock test paper 1 part 1, because there are 90 questions in mock test, each mock test. You know that NEET paper means 180 questions will be there totally. Out of that 180 questions, 90 questions, that is 50% of the questions will be only biology. That means each question carries 4 marks. You all know this. Then 90 question means 90 into 4, 360 marks we are discussing today. Today, all 90 questions we cannot discuss. That's why I have written on the screen. You can see part 1, mock test part 1. This part 1 will have 32 questions out of 90 questions. Okay, so next you will get part 2 also. So in that part 2 we will try to finish. If it doesn't finish, then at least in part 3 I'll finish one paper. Okay, so that you have read all the chapters now, so you can test how much you can answer, how much you know about first year and second year topics. Okay, because this mock test will include all the chapters. So shall we discuss one by one now? Okay, first question is, in fish Katla katla, the specific name is identical with the generic name. Thus it is an example of. See that the word Katla katla, that is a scientific name, where genus name and species name both are same. You can see there. Katla katla, as we have discussed in our theory, Katla katla is a fish. You know that. So Katla katla specific name is identical with generical name. So it is example of what? 4 options they have given: autonym, tautonym, synonym, and homonym. Uh, the right way of answering the question is not only just guessing the answer, you have to justify. If you guess one answer is correct out of 4, you have to justify why remaining 3 options are wrong. So if you can justify like that, then easily you can write the answer. So let us go by these 4 words. The word autonym means automatically created, means people usually speak about some plants. Okay, then it becomes a practice. So autonym cannot be Katla katla cannot be autonym, because you know that it's a scientific name. They only mentioned in the question, see the specific name and generic name. That means it's a scientific name. So scientific name where tautonym word refers to genus and species name should be same. Like Nasa, that is cobra, snake, where Nasa is a genus and Nasa is a species also. Okay, so you can see here Katla katla is given, where genus name and species name both are same. So tautonym refers to same meaning. So it should be tautonym. So the correct option answer should be tautonym. But let us see why remaining 2 are wrong. Okay, so what is that word synonym refers to? That you know, in English language you have learned synonym and antonym we say. In Kannada we say synonym means samanarthaka pada, means which gives similar meaning. Okay, so Katla katla is it is not a English word as such. Katla katla, you know that what is that? Binomial nomenclature, when Carolus Linnaeus gave, he said it is a Latin name taken there, so it cannot be synonym. So what is meant by homonym then? Homonym refers to same spelling but different pronunciation. Okay, like same spelling will be there, different pronunciation, but here it is Katla katla only, so it cannot be homonym, almost same pronunciation, so it cannot be, so it is wrong. So the correct option should be option B, tautonym. Tautonym refers to generic name and species name, both should be same. Okay, so next, consider the following statements. 3 statements they have given, that is: A, racemose inflorescence, the flowers are born on in a basipetal order. Basipetal, acropetal, meaning, we say in racemose inflorescence, flowers develop in acropetal succession. That means mature flowers are towards the base, means mature flowers are present at the bottom and younger flowers are present at the tip, means topmost part of the peduncle, means the main axis or stem, what you say. Okay, where acropetal succession means mature flowers, old flowers are at the base, at the bottom, and young flowers are at the top. Okay, in epigynous flowers, the sepals, petals, stamens are successively and separately inserted above the ovary in the flower. The ovary in this situation is said to be inferior. Like guava, cucumber, all these are inferior ovary. But when the sepals, petals, stamens are successively and separately inserted below the ovary in the flowers, then the condition is hypogyny or hypogynous flowers, we say, isn't it? The ovary in this situation is said to be superior. So such flowers are termed as hypogynous, like it is there in mustard, China rose, and brinjal. So let us see these three statements. In racemose inflorescence, the flowers are borne on basipetal order, they said. But actually, it is in racemose, it is arranged in acropetal succession. That means older flowers are at the base, bottom, and younger flowers are at the top. Basipetal word they have given, that doesn't match with racemose, because in racemose it is acropetal succession. Basipetal means reverse. That is, younger flowers are at the bottom and older flowers are at the top. So first option statement itself is wrong because basipetal word is wrong there. Racemose means it is acropetal. Then epigynous flowers are seen in rose, they said. In rose, actually it is perigynous with superior ovary. If you see the, you can see that rose plant today. When you go and see that, rose flowers are not epigynous. Okay, it is perigynous with superior ovary. Ovary is present at the top. So second statement is also wrong. In brinjal, okay, the ovary is superior. This is correct. You can see brinjal today. You can go and see the plant. When you see the flower there, ovary is present on the top. So ovary is superior. So now you can say option statement A and B is wrong and C is correct. But here multiple options are there. You can see what is that. See, first one A, B are true, but C is false. Actually here both A and B are false, but C is correct. So which option has it? That is option C has. See there, A and B are false, but C is true. That is what we discussed now. So option C is a correct answer. Okay. Then third, which of the following statement is without exception for sponges? For sponges, porifera, which is exception? You see, options are they all have calcareous spicules. This is a skeleton present there, calcareous spicules. They have high regenerative power. They are found only in marine water. They are all radially symmetrical. So which is correct? If you recall what we have learned about sponges, sponges may have calcareous or it may have sometimes siliceous spicules. Means either it is made up of calcium carbonate, that is what we call calcareous, CaCO3, or else sometimes sponges will have spicules, which is not only calcium carbonate, it will have silica also. So it is calcareous or siliceous spicules. All the sponges are not marine. Some are freshwater also. So what they said there, they are found only in marine water. That option also you cannot say exactly correct, because some are marine, some are freshwater also. Then what about the symmetry? Sponges may be asymmetrical also, or it can be bilaterally symmetrical, but it cannot be radially symmetrical. Okay, they said it is radially symmetrical. So these characters are with exception, isn't it? So the characters without exception is the regenerative power of sponges. See, which of the following is without exception? They said without exception is definitely all the sponges have regenerative power, because some sponges will have calcareous spicule, some will have siliceous spicule, some will be asymmetrical, some will be bilaterally symmetrical. Then they said only found in marine, but it is found in marine and also freshwater. So which option which doesn't have exception is all the sponges have regenerative power. Okay, so option B should be correct. Next, you see these pictures. If you have learned these pictures in first year. You see it was there in the textbook itself. So can you identify these? Because it is there in the textbook itself, so definitely you might have read it. So can you identify which is the first diagram there? The first diagram should be dictyota, isn't it? Dictyota. See there. That is why option A and option B both have given dictyota in the first. Okay. After that, second plant you identify. That is because sometimes you identify first figure and directly you come to conclusion that it is dictyota. But two options have dictyota. Then next one, which is that correct, that also you can see. That is second one of B. You see which plant it is? It is Polysiphonia. See, option A and B both have Polysiphonia. Then which is third one, third picture? It is Porphyra, isn't it? Then fourth one is Laminaria. So now you might have got what is the point then. First three was correct for A and C, but fourth one for option A they gave fucus, but it is Laminaria plant there. You can open the textbook and see. Then last one is fucus. Okay, so it is in a correct order. So it should be option C, isn't it? Option C, yes. So in question number 5, in which of the following hemocyanin pigment is found? Hemocyanin pigment is found in which uh, what is this phylum? Which phylum? Okay, so let us see. In Annelida, Echinodermata, Insecta, and Mollusca, hemocyanin is colorless pigment, isn't it? So, but it contains blue color pigment, respiratory pigment. So it will be blue in color. So which one has it? That you can guess now. That some of the molluscans, isn't it? In mollusk, blood will be colorless, but it has copper containing blue color respiratory pigment. That is called hemocyanin. So remaining all Annelida and all, like you take one examples from these phylums. Like what about Annelida member? A simple example you take. What is that? You recall? Earthworm, suppose. Earthworm, when its body is cut, which color blood you have seen? Which color pigment? It is red, isn't it? What about Echinodermata? Echinodermata definitely doesn't have blue color. Insecta, some insects when you kill, it will have different colors. Like some will have green color, some will have red color. So what about option D? Mollusca. So when the mollusca dies, if you see the blood there, that will be having a blue color respiratory pigment. Actually, it is colorless, but it has blue color pigment for breathing. So it will be blue in color. It is called hemocyanin. You can remember this word. In mollusca, in molluscans, hemocyanin pigment is present. So it should be option D. So 6. Question number 6. Heartwood. You have learned this first year. Heartwood, sapwood and all. Heartwood differs from sapwood in what? What is the difference there? That is, let us see what are these. Okay. In old trees, you see in old trees, greater part of secondary xylem is brown in color, isn't it? Most of the parts will be brown in color due to deposition of organic compounds. What are those? Tannins, resins, oils, then gums, aromatic substances, sometimes essential oils also in the centermost part. So center looks very dark compared to other. It looks like a circle, isn't it? So it will be durable. So this wood remains for longer period. No microorganisms can attack. So it is resistant to microorganisms and insects. Then region comprised of dead elements and highly lignified. That is hardwood. The hardwood doesn't conduct water, so it gives mechanical support to the stem. The peripheral region of the secondary xylem is lighter. That means the sides will be lighter and center will be dark brown color. So it is known as sapwood. So dark one is in the center, heartwood, and at the sides the light color is sapwood. So it is involved in conduction of water and minerals from root to leaf. So what should be the correct answer then? Question number 6, that is heartwood differs from sapwood in having dead and non-conducting elements, isn't it? Because the central part is dead. It contains tannins, then oils and all. So it is dead. But the sides, sapwood conducts uh, water. So heartwood differs from sapwood in having dead and non-conducting elements. That is option C. Because I gave a lot of explanations. So by that explanation, you can directly say which is correct answer. So option 7. In Rhizopus, the zygospore is produced by the fusion of, you know that in a Rhizopus, zygospore is a sexually produced spore, isn't it? So it is produced because of what? Because of union of what? That is 7th one. Yeah. Option A, uninucleate gametes. Option B, multinucleate gametes. Then option C, multinucleated gametangia. Then uninucleated gametangia. So what is that gametangia means? It's a bulb-like structure which contains gametes inside. So two bulb-like structure comes and touches each other. Then zygospore is produced in the center. Okay. Okay, you imagine two balloons touching each other, and in the center one ball is kept. Okay, that ball like structure in the center is zygospore. So it is produced like that. It is produced by a multinucleated gametangia. It contains many nuclei. Then option 8, sorry, question number 8. The correct formula of soybean is, you see soybean comes under uh, which member, I mean which family? You just see that. That is, the plant belongs to family Fabaceae, isn't it? Soybean belongs to Fabaceae family. Under that, you have learned soybean, then pea, sem, moong, gram, etc. comes with a floral formula. Directly, you know this floral formula. Usually, all the members will have same floral formula. So it will be zygomorphic. That is, the percentage sign should come first. Then bisexual. So it should show both male and female together. So it then what about calyx? Calyx will be 5 fused. Corolla will be 1 plus 2 plus 2. So the androecium is 1 plus 9 in bracket. And gynoecium is superior with one locule. Yes. So it should be D. You can see what I said. Zygomorphic, bisexual. Calyx should be 5 fused. Corolla should be 1 plus 2 plus 2 in a bracket. Then androecium should be 1 plus 9 in a bracket. Gynoecium should be 1. So it should be, that is there in option D. Yes. So it should be option D, correct. That is direct question which is there in the textbook, you can see. So question number 9. If you are asked to classify the various algae into distinct groups, which of the following characters you should choose? That is option A. First, understand the question. If you are asked to classify various algae into distinct groups, so many algae are given, then you have to add them to group. On which of the characters you arrange those groups? So nature of stored materials in the cell, structure of what is that? Structural organization of thallus, chemical composition of cell wall, types of pigments present in the cell. You tell me, because we have learnt about algae. So we will see the characters of algae. What was that? Algae are a group of chlorophyllous plants. It has chlorophyll, green in color. Non-vascular plants. Vascular refers to conducting tissues like xylem and phloem. Non-vascular means they don't have xylem and phloem of their own. With a thallus plant body means leaf-like structure, that is thallus. Then different algae show different pigments, like some will have chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, xanthophylls, carotenes, etc. Then these pigments provide the base for classification of various groups of algae into different classes. Then chlorophyceae, there are 3 groups also, 3 classes: chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae, rhodophyceae. Chlorophyce possesses chlorophyll A, B pigments. Then Bacillariophyce contain diatomin pigment. One more extra is there for neat point of view. Bacillariophyce that contains diatomin pigment. Okay, Phaeophyce contains fucoxanthin. Rhodophyce contains R-phycoerythrin, which gives red color. You know that. So, okay. Then Cyanophyce is there. One more. Cyano refers to blue, isn't it? Cyanophyce has phycobilin. This in theory also we discussed about it. I mean in a NEET class when we were discussing synopsis, we discussed in detail. Cyanophyce contains phycobilin, phycobilin pigment. Okay. So now you tell me according to these explanations. So ninth one, you classify algae based on type of pigments present in the cell, isn't it? Because I said chlorophyll A, B, xanthophylls, carotenoids, all this. Because cyanophyce means see blue color based on the pigment. So based on the pigmentation, you classify this. You know 3 classes: chlorophyce, phaeophyce, rhodophyce. That is based on different colors. Like chlorophyce means green color, green algae. Then phaeophyce is brown algae. Then rhodophyce is red algae. So based on that, cyanophyce is blue. So based on that, we classify. So it is based on pigments present in the cell. Option D. Then peristomial teeth helps in what? Peristomial teeth, do you remember that when we were discussing funaria under bryophytes, that it has 3 structures like foot, seta, capsule. Then in the capsule tip of that, it has a teeth like structure, I told you. Okay, that is peristomial teeth. It helps in what? For release of spores, that we know, that we have discussed in a theory also. So it is easy question. So peristomial teeth, nothing but a ring of tooth-like structure around opening of moss or capsule, that is funaria. When it is wet weather, outer ring of peristomial teeth absorbs water and swells up. In rainy season, it absorbs water and swells. Then it fit over the inner peristomial teeth, leaving no space for dispersal of spores. During dry conditions, outer ring loses water and dries up. It becomes dry and twists around the space and opens the mouth. Okay, it is like opening the toothpaste cap. In when rainy season, cap will be closed. In summer season, cap becomes dry and it will open. Okay, then all the spores will be released out. So it should be option D, that is discharge of spores. Then next you see, which of the following 3 features are the characteristics of protostome? Now you should know what is this protostome refers to. Okay, it is a organism which we say scientific name is protostomia. Okay, word meaning is pro means first, stoma means mouth. Okay, so organism which possesses mouth for the first time compared to all other organisms. You see what they have given. What are the structures, characteristics of protostome? Options: spiral cleavage. That means the animal cuts into the spiral shape, like zigzag. What you say? Okay, Z shape, like that. Spiral binding, like a spiral cleavage. It happens. So first point you see in all 4 it is same. Determinate cleavage. That means how many parts it forms. That is already known. Okay, it doesn't form. Like n number of parts and all, it doesn't form. It is determinate. Then what about origin? Like whether it is produced by uh, ectoderm, mesoderm or endoderm. This triploblastic condition we know, that is outer ectoderm, inner endoderm and middle mesoderm. What is the origin of protostome? From which derm or skin it is produced? See, word enterocoeli refers to it is produced by endoderm, inner layer. Origin is endoderm, but schizocele refers to it as it is arised from mesoderm. So actually, it arises from mesoderm. If you study about protostomia, so it should be, you can remember this. So it should be option D: spiral cleavage, determinate cleavage, and schizocele. It is originated from mesoderm, not from endoderm. If it is originated from endoderm, then it is enterocoeli. So, okay. Which of the next question? Which of the following are characteristics of dinoflagellates? You remember that Protista when we discussed under kingdom Protista. It is a boundary between plants and animals. It has 5 classes. Do you remember that? That is the first, second class. That is dinoflagellate. Then euglenoids, slime molds, then protozoans. All this is there. You know that. Dinoflagellate we discussed also. It forms red tides. That is goniolax. No. So we have question about that now. Planktonic golden yellow algae with soap box like structure. That is diatom. Marine red biflagellated protista, that is goniolax, appear yellow, green, brown, blue, red in the color. Yes, biflagellated organisms with pellicle, that is flexible outer cover there. So according to you, which is correct answer? They have multiple answers, you see, in the options. A, B, C only, B, D, E only, B and C only, then B and E only. You see which is correct there. That is marine red flagellated protista goniolax, correct. Then it appears yellow, green, brown, blue and red in color. That is also correct. These two explanations are there in the textbook itself. Pellicle, having pellicle is euglenoid. Okay. Then having golden yellow algae, that is desmids, and soap box like structure, that is diatom. It doesn't come under dinoflagellate. Okay. So that comes under first class we discussed there. So it should be option B. I mean, statement B and C are correct. Which has that? That is option C. B and C only. Okay, then question number 14. Which of the following is purely sensory nerve? Which is purely sensory in function? Sensory in function means receiving information from sense organs and sending it to brain or spinal cord. Olfactory lobe or olfactory nerve. You know where it is. Olfactory nerve is present. Olfactory is meant for what? Olfactory is meant for smell, isn't it? Then what about trigeminal? Trigeminal is there are 12 cranial nerves. Do you remember 12 pairs of cranial nerves? Under the 12th pair is 12th cranial nerve is trigeminal. Okay, it is sensory in function. Then it is sensory in function. That means it receives message from sense organs and sends it to brain. Then what about oculomotor? This is third cranial nerve for rising or raising eyelid. That means if eyelid has to open completely, enlarge, then this oculomotor is required. Facial means, you know, facial nerve means it is required for laughing, crying, all that facial nerves present in the face. Okay, head part of the body. Then, so according to you, which is correct answer then? 14th. So what is the question? Olfactory, trigeminal, then oculomotor. So which is correct answer according to you? So it should be olfactory, isn't it? Because olfactory is meant for smell. Nose takes smell, then it receives it, then olfactory nerve will take that smell to brain, then brain will interpret what kind of, means brain will understand what kind of smell it is. Okay, whether it is bad odor or it is fragrance of perfume, like that. Then we show response. So it should be option A. Then question number 15. It's half covered there. The joint of the hip and shoulders are called. What type of joint is there in a hip and shoulder? What type of joint? Hinge joint, ball and socket joint, pivot joint, and ellipsoid joint. Okay, actually it is joint of hip should be option B, isn't it? That is ball and socket. We see this shoulder, you can rotate freely, isn't it? So it is freely you can rotate clockwise or anti-clockwise. That is because it is ball and socket, free movable joint. So it should be option B, isn't it? That is question number 15. A joint of hip and shoulder is called ball and socket joint because it is joint articular end of one is like a ball, and that means one part is like a ball and other part is like a cup. So like a socket. Okay, the joint allows movement in many places. So it should be option B. So 16th question. Source of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis during day in CAM plants, that is crustacean acid metabolism plants. Even though it is not there in the syllabus, we discussed in detail. The cycle also we discussed, you remember. So please go through the synopsis. Okay, that is 3-PGA, that is 3-phosphoglyceric acid, malic acid, oxaloacetic acid, and D-pyruvic acid. Source of carbon dioxide is what? Do you remember what is the source of carbon dioxide? So it should be CAM plants, crustacean acid metabolism. Source of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis during daytime is malic acid. Do you remember this? Malic acid is converted to dash, then dash is converted to malic acid. What is the dash? It means that in Cran's anatomy, dark acidification happens. That is during night, malic acid is formed, and malic acid breaks up into carbon dioxide and pyruvic acid in the daytime. That means malic acid is converted to pyruvic acid is converted to malic acid. They are asking for carbon dioxide photosynthesis source. So it should be malic acid, isn't it? Malic acid is converted to pyruvic acid. So it is option B, malic acid. During nerve impulse transmission permeability of a membrane is greater for. Do you remember that resting potential and action potential? That is 3 sodium remains outside and 2 potassium remains inside the cell. Then changing the sign, that is outside positive, inside negative. Do you remember that? When sodium enters, then potassium enters, the sign reverses. That is during resting potential, 3 sodium will be outside the cell and 2 potassium will be inside the cell. So it is 3 Na plus and 2 K plus. So it should be membrane greater for Na plus, K plus, equal for both A and B, and Ca plus. And calcium is nowhere related here. That is, it should be sodium because 3 Na plus and 2 K plus. So 3 is more, definitely greater. So it is Na plus. Okay. Some more questions we'll discuss in our class, in our next class. So I'm taking break here. Okay.